Yep.
Yes.
Please stand for the flag. Congratulations to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all who requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Rick. Here. Councilman Day.
Here.
Councilman Durango.
Here.
Councilman Delines is excused.
Yes.
Councilman Giacometto.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Joseph Ragno and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyd.
Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments? So moved. Councilman Bennett? Councilman Giacometto? All in favor? Aye. Against? Anyone from the public like to address?
Good evening. My name is Walter Boudreau. I live in Iron Forge, Mid-Rise. I've had a few questions about the restoration of the lake the walkway along the lake. And I was suggested to me by Councilman Deline that I go to an open house.
Yes.
I went there, I got some good information, and last night I went over with Mr. Deline at the Lake Restoration Committee, and I see that the walkway is going to be nice and wide. That was a main concern of mine. I didn't want it to go really narrow, 6 feet wide from Rotary Park up to the park with the gazebo. That's what it looks like on the map that they show. And Eric explained what the walkway was going to be made of, and I'm very happy with that also. It's not going to be concrete, but it's going to be very quality walkway. Happy with that. One more concern I have, my idea. I wish the reconstruction is not going to plant any trees along that walkway because it's really not their problem. They didn't destroy anything there. If it's at all possible, in my opinion, it would be great if we could plant trees along there, because when I walk there for myself, when I walk in the summer, it's a long stretch and it's very hot. It's not pleasant. You know, in the summertime, when you walk, you're always looking to walk under a tree. Very nice. It'd be very conducive to walking. So I don't know if this could be a Green Acres project. I know everything costs money and labor, but it's something that while they're doing the work, it might be something that could be fit in at a lower cost than if it was done another time. But you also have to keep in mind too, I think the trees should be on the lake side of the park for the shade effect, not on the street side of the park. And you also have to worry that the tree roots will not undermine the new walkway too. It's another thing you have to think about. But, you know, it's something to think about.
So a couple of the concerns they have with trees, and I'm not saying that we're against the trees, it's not a bad idea. One is security. We want to be able to have a view for the police officers from the road if somebody is walking at night or early morning, that they can see them. So you wouldn't want a blockage of the pathway itself. And then the other problem would be, as these trees get bigger, these branches start to hang over the walkways, and it become an issue with storms and falling, so we'd have to keep up with them. We do have our shade tree guy here right now. We could see what he thinks about the idea also. It is not in the plan as we speak. Trees are not, you're right, they're not in there. Doesn't mean we can't put them in. We have grants all the time for trees that can be put in. I would suggest we would probably put some trees in as we move along. It wouldn't be a whole shaded walkway, but I would think there would be some trees there.
It's, you know, there's pros and cons to that view. Another question, totally irrelevant to my first point. I see a lot of bond issues. This bond issue is a way my taxes pay the bond. off the bond, correct? That's how it works?
No, your taxes pay off the interest on them.
The interest, yeah, exactly.
The interest on the bonds right now, first of all, we have is very low. And secondly, we have a very high rating. What's our rating for bond, for double A? You know, double A, triple A is probably the highest. No, I'm sorry, A is the highest. Triple A? Okay.
Triple A.
The bonding is a way we can use to get more money when we have to do projects that will pay back the whole amount. We just pay the interest on the short term when we're using it. So in other words, if we had to buy a garbage truck for $250,000, we could borrow $250,000. Maybe we could pay that off in 2 years or 3 years for $250,000 on bond, but we'd have to pay the interest, which would be extra, which at this moment is very low.
So you have to pay back the principal and the interest?
Yes. That's how we do major improvements or purchases. Tax dollars alone don't cover those added costs.
This is the way of getting away from, avoiding the cap, I guess, too, right?
Yes, right.
What total amount of bonds debt do we have now? You have any idea?
In terms of the debt, the total debt of the town is probably about 24 million, that includes the board and everything. The town runs around 12. Right now,
Let's look at the town.
right now we're about 0.76%. So we're not 1% of our equalized value in debt. So we're way below. So the state allows you to have 3.5% of your net value in debt. So we're way below whatever potential thresholds are for debt service. That's not a problem.
Necessary evil, right?
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Helene Zablocki, 6 Butler Street. Does the council plan to designate Pompton Lakes a stigma-free town?
At this time, we have no plans to do that. We did talk about the ordinance in the health department. They brought it up, and they were going to designate through the health department. If they want us to do it, they would bring it to us.
I thought it was something that the town would do, though. I didn't think the health department had the authority to make that designation.
They don't have the authority, but they would request it from us.
And, okay, I'll speak to the health department. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session? Second. Council President Riker, Councilman Begg, all in favor? Aye. Against? Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes of April 25th, 2018. Closed session meeting minutes, April 25th, 2018. Can I have a motion? So moved. Councilman Bennett? Second. Councilman Giaconetti, all in favor? Aye. Against? Bills and claims. Motion to approve the following bill list as stated below. Councilman Begg?
Second.
Council President Riker, all in favor? Aye. Against? Petitions, we have none. Consent agenda whenever you're ready.
Does anyone need to have a quote from
Did you want one pulled down first?
I do, 114, resolution 18-114.
Okay.
114, number 9. Anyone else? Okay, Liz?
Whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be resolved, the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 18104 through Resolution 18111. Resolution 114 is now separate along with 112 and 113.
Okay, can I have a motion? So moved. Councilman Giaconetti, Councilman Borrego, all in favor? Aye. Against? Okay, resolution 18-114.
Resolution 8, I'm going to go in order. 1812, 112, authorizing and directing the mayor and clerk to execute a contract with PDA Local 161 for the years 2018 and 2019.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll move that, Mayor.
Councilman Borrego, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Begg, any discussion? You want to explain? Anybody want to explain? Just the contract, right?
It's the PBA collective bargaining agreement for the next 2 years.
Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Dunn.
Yes.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Councilman Barranco.
Yes.
Councilman Giaconetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker. Yes. Resolution 18-113, authorizing issuance of not exceeding $1,497,000 bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey, be it resolved by the Borough Council of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey as follows.
Okay, can I have a motion? Councilman Begg? Second. Council President Riker? Any discussion? This is, you want to,
What this resolution does is this rolls over, authorizes the rollover of a bond anticipation note that was taken out last year, which allows us to consolidate funds in our capital budget. So this is the rollover, and you have so many years before these notes must become permanent financing. So the idea is, as you roll these over, try to pay down significant portions, and potentially you have to go to permanent bonds themselves. This is the short-term funding mechanism.
this is the short term.
Sure.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Venn?
Yes.
Councilman Begg?
Yes.
Councilman Barranco?
Yes.
Councilman Jacanetta?
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker?
Yes.
Resolution 18-114, authorizing capital budget amendment.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Jacanetta? Second. Councilman Bennett? Discussion? Question?
I have discussion, Mayor. Our little capital budget amendment resolution 18-114 form here that we have displays various improvements or purposes, project number 2018-1. I was hoping to just kind of get a little bit of detail as to what various improvements or purposes stands for. Okay?
If you go back to my report, I have outlined what they are. We actually have, if you go further down, there's different ordinances. One is a capital cash ordinance, which is based upon the cancellation of $419,000 resolutions, and then we have the actual indebted ordinance, and so there's different things going on here. Let me find out in my report, I can give you an idea of where we have going on.
And I don't need details, Administrator, just want an idea as to what those...
Yeah. I have to remember which one's which. And in terms of the actual bond ordinance, which will eventually generate potentially another note down the road, we're going to be paving of Grant Ave, we're going to be doing some Ave repairs, buying fire department equipment, we're upgrading our traffic lights every year. We have traffic light inspections. We've been putting them off for a long time. Now we have the opportunity, it makes sense to do that. When we do river work as usual, OEM vehicle storage building, continuing funding of Morris Greenway, potential improvements to the pond hole. One of the things we're looking at as part of redevelopment is to do a joint venture with the bid for the pond hole redevelopment, and also library improvements. That's capital bonding.
Okay.
That could potentially lead to long short-term financing.
Okay.
The other ordinance, and that resolution deals with that capital financing.
Okay.
So to answer your question, that resolution deals with what I just mentioned.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Mayor.
So most
So
of those
river-
things is our action that we do yearly.
Okay,
For-
so when you say river, you mean the de-snagging and the cleaning of the rivers and all that stuff? Okay, thank you, Mr. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mayor.
it's most of our everyday kind of maintenance and routine stuff we have,
Thank
like
you.
roads, rivers, you know.
Good, thank you.
Yeah,
Is that going to include relocation of the Greenwood Ave light back
No,
off the corner?
no,
Did they look at that at all, do we know?
yes. 18 grand.
18, okay.
So the concept is, and talking to the chief, is that whoever eventually redevelops that corner, let them kick in for some of that redevelopment late, watch it down.
Okay, good.
Bottom line, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fine.
So that resolution you mentioned has to be the actual capital debt ordinance, which I just went over.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kevin, another question. Is Montclair Ave on that list, or is that next year? Next year?
Don't suck up too long.
Yeah, just want to make sure that, all right.
He knows.
I knew he was asking, yeah, okay,
He
so
knows
it's next year's.
He knows
All right.
next year.
Next year's fund.
And Summit Avenue, just so everyone's aware, is in dire need of repair. The guardrails have kind of disappeared there. There was a semi-fix on that road years ago that's falling apart, so that really needs to be done.
Is that where the wire came down over there?
Yeah, right.
On the-
You
right
got
there?
struck on top of the hill, Frank.
Yeah,
The whole side of the mountain's given out.
oh, okay,
When we were there looking at it last year, I put was behind it, put sandbags.
really, okay,
To try to keep it from falling
All right.
any further, so it's,
okay,
When you
Yeah.
take, when you take those walks,
right,
hour walks.
right there, on the other side, Look over the guardrail. I have to look over the
Yeah,
guardrail,
Look over the
okay.
guardrail,
Look down.
that's where you...
Really? Oh, that bad over there?
Don't
Okay.
get that close, you might go down with it.
All right, no, good. Oh,
Tex
That's
France in the 40s.
very important, okay. All right,
Okay,
good.
can I have
And everything there.
can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Day?
Yes.
Councilman Durango?
Yes.
Councilman Jacanetta?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rowland?
Yes.
Okay, ordinances for first reading?
These ordinances will be presented for second reading and final adoption May 23rd. Ordinance 18-10, ordinance providing various improvements in and by the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey, and appropriating $279,600 therefore from the capital surplus of the borough.
Motion to approve ordinance number 18-10 for introduction.
I'll move, Mayor.
Councilman Marinko?
Yep.
Second.
Councilman Jacanetta? Roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Day?
Yes.
Councilman Marinko?
Yes.
Councilman Jacanetta?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rowland?
Yes.
Can I just say something, Mayor?
Sure.
This ordinance here is a, for lack of a better word, capital cash ordinance. As you saw in Resolution 1804, we canceled about $219,000 out of the funded ordinance, all part of a bigger bond sale. That money was balanced left over. A lot of it was balanced left over because of grant reimbursements. So instead of having to reallocate and go out to fund more money, this is actual cash. You're already paying debt on it. So why turn around and just get more debt you don't need? So this ordinance allows us to take that money, use it as basically capital cash, and use it for people to understand. They're trying to be technical about it. This is going to allow for OEM to buy a GPS time sync system for the police department. It's going to help fund library computers, to help upgrade on the computer itself, some of the pixels and stuff for the TV has a better TV value for Channel 77. Some various computer equipment. First Aid Squad has some building improvements to do. River gauge is going to try to now buy the actual computerized river gauges. The county has notified us that there are approaches to the bridges that have issues, sidewalks and so forth. We're required to improve those, and the county's not going to do that. We're going to do the bridge repairs. Last year, we had the Rutgers that proposed 2 studies, and the state county did one of those studies for free. This is going to fund the second study. Shade tree plantings, this is going to be the match to the $45,000, the $30,000 shade tree grant. We're going to do our normal storm drain repairs. The building department's upgrading its system we now Roadrunner, which is a computer-based system. It's kind of out of date. Mr. Humphries is something that's used mostly in most towns. This will allow us to better track permits, zoning violations, things of that nature. So that's part of that clause. And then the planning board's asked for some upgrades in terms of mapping, in terms of studies. Now, I'll cover that clause. That's all capital cash. I mean, it's not debt.
Right, so it's not debt, it's capital cash we had out already, that we're just kind of reusing. Reallocated, right. Okay, where was
I
it?
have a question. When you were talking about the sidewalks and the county bridges, the approach from Wayne 202 onto Lakeside,
It's in my report.
oh, it's in it.
Good, keep going.
Okay, is a mess, and I just didn't know where we are.
I got to go back to, there were specific bridges that they listed. I have to go back and look at the notes, but we'll look at the ones that they specifically request us to do. I have to go back and those notes I have in my.
It's not,
it's whatever they mentioned us, yeah, that's right.
but you bring up a good point, that the Lakeside Bridge, they supposedly repaired it, they did a very poor job in
It felt a lot
repairing
better today than it has.
Yeah, but it could be a lot better. I was gonna ask you to reach out to the county again, and ask them to just do a skim coat on the one side. They can't just patch it there. Some parts of that whole area, we'll skip past this ordinance and then we'll talk about that. Okay, so next ordinance is whenever you're ready.
Ordinance 18-11, bond ordinance appropriating $1,300,000 and authorizing the issuance of $1,023,000 bonds or notes of the borough for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey.
Have a motion.
Motion.
Councilman Day. Have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bennett, roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Councilman Durango.
Yes.
Councilman Jacanetta.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Just to do one thing about that, the ones that they've noted that we must repair are the Broad Street, approach and the Riverdale approach. Those are the two that they have requested us to be prepared to. It's the same stance, that's,
So Lakeside's not on that list? is it?
no, that's okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, under my report, we'll go back to the Lakeside Bridge. We reached out to the county probably a month ago, and they did come about 2 weeks ago and did some patchwork to the bridge. It is a little better than it was, but I'm gonna, again, ask if they could do a skim coat, at least on the, coming in from Wayne, the opposite side there, because that one side is really bad. Enough that most residents now are driving in the wrong way to traffic, so they don't drive across that bumpy part. And they gotta understand it's a danger over there. They really need to take a look at the bridge there, so we can get them to take a look at that, that'd be good. Just so everybody understands, we have no say on the county doing the repairs. You know, we can ask them to do it, they're usually pretty responsive, but we can't repair that kind of county road by ourselves, so they have to come in and do it. I'm also gonna ask, now that we're talking about budget, to look at adding 9 Hamburg Turnpike into the redevelopment zone. So they wanna take a look at that building, they wanna do some redevelopment there. It's, right now, if you're familiar, when you're coming to the Masonic Lodge, it's the building, it's the old house right in front of it before it. It's falling apart. Somebody wants to build 9 condos there. So we're gonna see if we can get that
So you
in.
want to do a resolution?
Yes. Yes, and the back house too. And the house is falling apart. It's in
Nice, Hamburg, you said.
Yeah. The lodge would be very grateful. Yes, it's an eyesore, and, it is in Pompton, even though it's on the border of Riverdale, so they can improve it to the town, so let's take a look and see what they have to say. We are still in the process of hiring a new, Alliance coordinator. Our last coordinator had to leave to take on a different job, and, so we are, right now, have an application out. It is a full-time position. You do have to have, a degree and then some classwork with, is it healthcare, or is it?
Usually health field.
Health field. So if you know of anybody who's interested, please come to Town Hall and fill out an application for that. I attended a CRS meeting. I thank Liz and the whole staff for all the time and effort they put into our CRS, which is our rating that keeps our insurance low for flooding. There's a lot of time and energy that goes into that. That whole board works very hard at keeping our numbers. We're at a 25% discount, I think, right now, right? Is that correct, Liz? One of the lowest in the state and one of the lowest on the East Coast. To get there, there's a lot of requirements that you have to hit and a lot of paperwork that has to be done. So it's a yearly thing to take that, to make it go, and then they have one meeting to put it all together and get it out. With that said, most residents who pay flood insurance should see a 25% discount on their flood insurance. If it doesn't say CRS discount 25%, up to 25%. Yes, if you're grandfathered in, or there's certain circumstances where you might not get the full 25%, you should call your insurance agent and say, look, I'm in a town that has a 5 rating, and question why you don't have the discount. Sometimes they overlook it, sometimes they forget. You know, when insurance is $4,000 a year in some cases, 25% is $1,000, so it's a big savings, so you should really look into that. I was privileged enough to attend an Eagle Scout ceremony again this weekend. Our troop is so popular in town for making Eagle Scouts, now they're doing 2 at a time, so there was 2 Eagle Scouts that came forward. I'd say this year alone, I've probably done 12 Eagle Scout ceremonies, which is a lot. You know, some towns do 1 or 2 a year, we're at 12, we're not even done with the year, so congratulations to them. The Coalition Eagles. I attended a meeting in redevelopment. I know there was some news in the paper that the Salvation Army has closed. The Salvation Army has closed and moved out. The project that is going to go in there, which is known as Lakeside Commons, is probably moving forward. Again, people have to understand this is not a town project. This is an independent developer coming in who owns the property or purchased the property to make this happen. Salvation Army was just a renter of the building. They did not own the building. So hopefully in the next month or 2 or 3, we should see some movement on that property. It is a beautiful building that they're putting in over there. It's going to be an all-brick building to match the landscape of the high school and the post office. They have their own on-site parking for all their units there. I think it's about 50 units. And they're going to reshape the curbing on Lakeside Avenue across from the ice cream station, make it a little wider with some street parking. So I think when they're all said and done, it'll be a nice-looking project for the town. And remember, the reason we're doing this is for the pilot. For 30 years, we will get a payment on this improvement they're doing there. which really helps our coffers and pay for those things that one of the gentlemen came up, you know, our fire engines and our garbage trucks and things. So this will really help us with that. And that's my report. Council President Reagan.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor and I also attended something which is referred to as Hidden in Plain Sight. It was a program put on by the coalition. It was a fabulous program where they set up a teenager's room right here in the front of council chambers, and basically they showed us all the innovative ways that our teens would be potentially hiding drugs, alcohol, drug paraphernalia. Even those people who thought they were the most astute at this, I think, learned something. Personally, the thing that struck me is there was a vaping hoodie, and on the 2 strings that they modeled that you typically have with a hoodie really had nothing to do with tying the hood. They had to do with actually the vaping mechanisms. The only disappointment was that we didn't have the kind of turnout that we wanted, and their rules required that, even though we were set up for it, that we were not allowed to tape. So if you have the opportunity to go to one of these programs, Hidden in Plain Sight, they've done them, I think, in the schools. If you have an opportunity, we did have people from other communities who had read about it, did come and participate. It's something worth doing and seeing. In addition, they did a very statistically based PowerPoint before they went through the room. Lots of data on drug use and alcohol abuse. A couple of other things that I'd like to share. Several days ago, I was watching an interview with 2 journalists, a married couple, who had lived in China for a while and had recently come back to the States. And he was a pilot, so he took a small prop plane, and he and his wife traveled throughout the country. They wanted to see what had happened in the United States since they had come back, and they specifically were gearing their stops to smaller towns. And the book is called Our Towns. And they highlighted different communities. But the thing that struck me is one of the interviewers asked, we've been to many of these towns, we've traveled the whole country, what generalizations can you make? And the thing that struck me really felt that it resonated with Pompton Lakes. And what they seem to say is the importance of the library building, where they thought of the library growing up as a place where you go and you borrow books. And they say the internet perhaps has changed the book issue, but that the library, in fact, has become so much more in terms of programs for seniors, programs for toddlers, an after-school place, if you have a community that needs ESL lessons, book clubs, and they went on and on and on, and indicated, also one of the things they said seemed to be, seem to happen in most of the communities, is that most of the senior citizens learn to use computers through basic courses at the library. So I'm sharing that because we here on council, many people perhaps in the audience who are watching at home don't realize that the library funding has been dramatically impacted by different state formulas over the years. And we as a council have taken the position that the library, besides being a beautiful building in town, is a very important function in town, and that we have supported the library in various ways. I know they're going to have programs coming up. One of you will deal with that in your report, so I'm not going to. But I want to applaud us as a community, as a council, for realizing just how important the library is, even though you have the internet that you could just look things up more easily, that you don't need it for the encyclopedias per se, but its function has really really dramatically changed and escalated. And I think what they observed is very true of what we have in our town.
Mind if I add on to
Yeah,
that?
oh, sure, you're the library guy.
Well, actually, Chris is, but
Okay.
my family and I visited Martha's Vineyard, this past summer, and, one of the days the morning was washed out, a lot of rain. So we ended up at their local library, and we found an open space, and a ton of kids were in there. And in speaking with the woman at the front desk, she said that a majority are actually tourists, but what I've noticed is that it's like a community center. A lot of kids came, and there's a little area for puppets, and my kids joined in and did that. And there's a reading area, there's a deck where adults can go out and read, have a cup of coffee, read a book, read the paper. It doesn't have to be about books, it's just a place to congregate and be with your neighbors and have a cup of coffee if need be. I also visited the Verona Library. They're in the middle of reconstruction right now, a huge project, gutting the entire inside. They temporarily relocated their library to an annex, and we will be invited to their grand opening when that happens later this year. So, something to think about.
On to another subject. Many of you might have seen in the last couple of days that Governor Murphy signed a piece of legislation which is intended to be the quote-unquote workaround for the SALT deductions. And the SALT deductions are just the acronym for the fact that with the new federal tax law, those of us in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut who have significant property taxes are much more limited in our ability to deduct. So the quote-unquote workaround creates a charitable fiction. And today I received a very good short summary from one of the leading accounting offices in the state explaining the legislation and then explaining some of the problems with the legislation. And we as a council may be asked to consider whether we will enact this charitable workaround. And I felt, since it is brand new, I asked Liz to please make copies of the article for everybody, just so that you're at least brought up to speed of the major issues, because I think this is going to be something that people are going to be talking about. So,
I believe you've seen the same thing in other states.
yeah, well, this article deals with New York and New Jersey. I didn't ask Liz to cut the New York part out, just so you could see by way of comparison. But it was very succinct, and I feel that as more people learn about it, on first blush you say, well, of course we're going to do it. But as the CPAs and the tax lawyers begin to analyze this, I think it is fraught with some danger.
If I can just, I would talk to DCA, put out a newsletter, which actually will give my next report, we're all through the same thing. And it sounds very nice as they have put the political spin on it, but speaking to our auditors, they have a lot of concerns about what they're looking to try to do. First of all, I'm not sure it's going to meet the IRS muster for a charitable contribution. Second of all, for us to do this is going to create a financial nightmare. As we take this in from a charity, bring it into the current fund, it's not going to be easily done. And so, it sounds good on paper, but like everything else we do in New Jersey, it sounds good on paper, it doesn't always seem to work well in the real world.
Maybe the charity might have to be designated for certain projects.
But the point is that I just say no to people I deal with on our level who already have concerns. This might not really fly as a practical operation.
Well, that's the crux of this, and they give you the administrator indicated that absolutely the top issue is that the IRS has gone on record saying that they will fight it, and when I say by all rights, indicating the classic definition of the legal definition of a charity is something that you give but you receive nothing, that you no benefit from, and that seems to
And I can tell you too, one of the other individuals in that accounting firm just does tax accounting. And for the most part, most people who can take the $24,000 deduction that's given as part of the law will probably benefit and never itemize again. So a lot of people will never even use itemization because that $24,000 will be enough for them to deal with their situation. So there's a lot of stuff in play here. There's a lot of stuff in play.
So I felt that you'll be seeing a lot more of it, and I felt this was a really good, succinct overview, so that everybody is at least brought up to speed, so when someone addresses you, you at least have some basic information. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. I know that the hidden in plain sight, you brought up a point that we were about to film it, so it was on Channel 77, then we realized it was probably an educational tool for the kids to learn where's the best place to hide your drugs if we put it up on television. So we decided not to put it up on television. It was really set for the parents. But like the councilwoman said, there was a lot of interesting hiding places that you would never guess. And I'll give you a very simple one. They just said a shoe that has an insole in it. You just lift up the insole and hide the drugs underneath the insole of the shoe. We'd never know the drugs were there. So it's just simple things that kids are smart enough to figure out and know how to do. So it was a very interesting talk. Tennis ball. They have lots of interesting ones. Okay, who's my next here? Councilman Giacoletto.
Thank you, Mayor. I recently attended the Board of Health meeting that we had, and offering a couple of screenings. I don't know if Liz has them up on there, but they do, maybe you already have them up there. She's good. But just to let everybody know, on Wednesday, May 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for $10, they have a stroke screening. It'll be right here in the municipal building, body mass index. So to make an appointment, call 973-835-0143, extension 235 for an appointment. And then the other we have for male cancer screening. Cost is $28, and that's going to be held on Tuesday, June 12th, from 5 to 7 at the Carnavelli Center, Pusher Street. And it's for men 50 years and older. Again, same number, the 835-0143, extension 235 to make an appointment for that screening. Also, Mrs. Helene Zablocki, we did talk about the stigma-free. The only issue we had is our health officer, Marianne Arpello. She's going to be out for the whole summer. She won't be back till September. She's having surgery. And they put it on hold until she comes back to get this going. So we did talk about it, just so you know. They want to get it going, but we need her to be on board. So just bear with us. They do want to do it, but once she's back and running and she's up to full speed, we're going to tackle it then. So by the fall, hopefully, all right? Just so you know. And then we'll bring it to the council.
Just something about that?
Yeah.
Captain Clark is very much involved because he has a child that has a disability. He just told me the other day that 3 or 4 of our officers are already trained relative to stigma-free.
Oh, that's
We
great.
have people on staff already trained for that purpose.
That's awesome, yeah. Yeah, because in Wayne they're doing it. They're from Wayne. We contract with Wayne. And they're bringing it on board there, so they're going to bring, here, naturally. So, but it's just a process, but we are going to be doing it. Just to give you an update, all right? The other thing, too, is we welcome a new board member, Kelly Helwitz. Yes, and she's from town. She's Liz's counterpart up in Ringwood. She is the, she's been up there, yes, she's the clerk up there in that town, and she's very knowledgeable, so it was a great fit. She came right on and made a lot of good points, so I just wanted to let everybody know it was an excellent pick. The other thing I had, the last thing, myself, Councilman Begg, Councilman DeLine, Councilman Bennett, of course, our esteemed mayor, we had a grand opening ribbon cutting for Sweet Berry Bowls up at the new the old AP shopping center. And there's 3 gentlemen, all went to college together, and they opened up that store and several others, and they're planning to open a bunch more. They want to do a lot of things for the town. They were talking to the mayor. They want to sponsor a lot of the Little League and soccer, and they're really on board, and they seem they're a good family. They really want to make some family ties here in Pompton Lakes. It was good to see that. We were talking to the mayor, and we wish them nothing but the best, and with some good food, good health stuff. So that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, we're always welcome to see new businesses coming into town. It's a hard sell getting the businesses to pick your town to show up in, so I'm thankful for them for opening up. They seem to be doing very well. They're in a good location next to a gym. I guess if you want to get healthy and go to the workout and have some healthy food, that's where you would do it, so good luck to them. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you. Tonight, right before the council meeting, I stopped by Lincoln School. It's their annual art show. They lined the hallways with all the artwork of all the students from kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade. And one of the cool things they do, and they probably do in other schools too, they do a self-portrait. So as the years go by, you see how the child, the progression. And Katie, my older one, is 4th grade now, so you see from kindergarten, she took about this much space on the piece of paper, and then, through 4th grade and how she's come along with that. But, and Melanie is her first one, so she's in kindergarten. I'm very proud as to how much art and music our Board of Education provides our students. I've heard over the years, some school districts, when times are tough, budgets are cut, one of the first things to go is art and music. And I see how much art and music plays into a child's development, and I appreciate all the work that the Board of Ed is doing to foster that. Next thing, I participated in Sticker Shock a couple weekends ago. Councilman Begg, Councilman DeLine stopped in, members of the Hawk Club, and a couple members of the police department went to, I believe, 3 liquor stores in town, put stickers on the large bulk items warning folks to not purchase or give alcohol to minors. It was strange to see a school bus parked in front of a liquor store at 8 in the morning on a Saturday, along with a police car, but, we got some looks. That same day, there was a rain barrel workshop over at Herschel Park. What group was that? Stormwater Management Group, Councilman DeLine. It's good to see that folks are interested in placing rain barrels at their houses, and as word of this spreads and the benefits of it, hopefully it's starting to gain traction. I can see it. Tech Committee met. We discussed potential layout changes to the homepage based on usage. We're still working on the analysis of how people use it, where people click on the page the most, what people don't click on is probably more important, and then we can adjust the front page accordingly. A couple interesting things we noticed when we did some utilization analysis. During any storm, the flood board page there's definitely a spike in that, in the hits, as well as after the water main break, there was massive amounts of hits on our page. And I'd like to wish Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my wife Lauren, my mom in Thailand, and my mother-in-law. Thank you.
Thank you. The art show, I remember as a kid, it was always good to watch the art show in school. That was always fun. One thing I forgot to mention, I attended the Knights of Columbus golf outing, a local group here in town, but they always do it in honor of Tara Janikowski, who passed away when she was 13 of cancer, and they raise a scholarship through that fund for high school students. So, they had 150 golfers out there supporting this. It's been going on for the last 15 years. They do a nice job there, and I thank them for that. Councilman Big.
Thank you. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report for the month of April from Chief Sean Felipe. There were 67 calls for the service for the month of April, 30 in Pompton Lakes, 17 in Riverdale, 8 duty calls in Wanacue. There were 37 medical emergencies, 16 trauma calls, 1 CPR call, 4 motor vehicle accident, and 2 fire calls. I also attended the CRS meeting. I received the Pompton Lakes Fire Department report for the month of April 2018 from Fire Inspector Al Bruno. There were 16 alarms for the month, and so far this year there's been 99 calls. I attended the Pompton Lakes Prevention Coalition meeting on April 26th. There was a discussion on the design of parents who host or lose the most yard signs. These signs are in regard to drinking parties, and eventually will be placed in lawns.
It's funny you bring that up. Let's bring one up.
There you go.
I forgot to mention that, as Councilman Begg just mentioned, we have these signs that basically stay, especially, during prom season now, there'll be a lot of parties going on. Parents that host the most are going to lose. So we're asking parents who want to put these on their properties, please reach out to the town hall. We'll have one with that you can stick on. It'll be going on all town properties and all school properties. It's just to make the message aware that, especially in May and June, there's a lot of parties going on with the kids, that, there are consequences to those parties, and if the parents are helping you throw those parties, there's going to be problems. So we're on top of that, and hopefully we can get the message across. So thank you, Councilman Day, for reminding me.
Why did they not stick with the parents who host lose the most?
Because we still have some of those, so.
Oh, okay, they're gonna use that?
Yes, we have both.
Okay.
Okay. There was also a discussion on making an effort to recruit more members. Anyone wishing to join the coalition, certainly can contact the mayor at this time,
Right now, it's in contact from us, right?
which will help when applying for new grants. The coalition will be hosting a TIPS on-premises training program at their offices for employees of bars and restaurants. The purpose of the program is to train the employees to take a proactive approach toward preventing alcohol misuse and maintaining the control of the environment within their establishment. The training also looks to improve business and community relations. I attended the Pompton Lakes Chamber of Commerce meeting on May 8th. The Chamber reports the sticker contest continues through May 18th, when you can pick up your forms and stickers from any one of 36 participating stores. And after the forms are filled in, they can be dropped off at Columbia Bank. There is $1,000 in prizes that will be awarded. The bid and Chamber are sponsoring a flower pot paint on the library lawn, and that'll be on May 12th, this weekend. The Chamber welcomes 2 new members, New Life Recovery Center, and Sweetberry Bowl. I attended the Pompton Lakes Board of Education meeting on May 1st and May 8th. At the May 1st meeting, the board set fiscal goals for the 2018-2019 year as follows: maintain and improve the quality of instruction and programs, maintain the improvement in conditions of our facilities, keep expenses as low as possible, and generate additional sources of revenue. The board passed the 2018-2019 budget for total expenditures appropriations of $35,513,463. Dana Agar, District Coordinator for Instructional Technology, gave an overview of the instruction technology coach position. The coaches collaborate with the teachers to facilitate the integrity of the technology in the teaching and learning. Ms. Agar outlined the district's instructional technology goals. At the May 8th meeting, the board approved payments for repairs of the roofs of the Pompton Lakes High School, Atlantic School, and Lincoln School. The board approved the appointment of Nancy Finello as supervisor of autism, replacing Dr. Irene Cook. I attended the ribbon cutting, as mentioned before, at Sweetberry Bowls, and also the ribbon cutting at TV Land Cafe. And that's my report.
Thank you. So we had 2 ribbon cuttings last week, and we have another one this Saturday. Those are always good signs that a town is moving and growing. When we're having ribbon cutting, that's a good thing. So, I welcome all the new businesses in town. They seem to be looking for spaces. I've had people already looking for some bigger areas that we can't even provide the spaces for some people that want to come in. I know that there is a new, they make bedposts for colleges. They'll make them in the name of your college, and you can move them from back to forth across the street from TV Land Cafe. That's opening the next week. So a lot of new stores opening, so it's good to see. Councilman Brayko.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a very, very short report this evening. I had no liaison meetings since our last council meeting, so I just want to start by echoing Councilman Vennon's sentiments about our library. My 3 children go to St. Mary's School, and they use that library almost every day, and it has become, when we were kids, libraries were places for books, and it is very true, especially in this town, that the library is a sort of a convention center where people come together, and I'm very glad to hear from the administrator that we're getting also new computers, more advanced computers, because that's only going to enhance the convention sort of feel of our library, and it's especially beautiful this time of year with the cherry blossoms outside. We do have, as the library liaison, it's already been said a couple times on this council, but I'll say it again. We have an annual book sale, Friday and Saturday, and the flower pot painting that's going to occur, I believe, on Saturday the 12th. We're hoping to have as many people out on that as possible. It's going to be a lot of fun out in the lawn, in the library. And as a mama's boy myself, I have to say, to all the beautiful mothers of Pompton Lakes in the state of New Jersey, a wonderful, lovely Mother's Day to everybody, and that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Just some added comments that I forgot to mention. Our street sweeper will be out. It's actually Bloomingdale. We do a shared service with Bloomingdale. We'll be out doing the street sweeping, so if you see a sweeper, it's the season that we start doing that. They don't hit every street every week. You know, they have a route that they follow, so eventually they will get to your street. Don't forget our summer concert series will be starting in June. That is held at the library. It is free. There'll be bands playing. You can bring a blanket or a seat and sit and listen to the music. They've asked me to announce that this year it will be a no smoking event. So if you need to smoke, you have to go off the sidewalk or something. They don't want people smoking in the crowd. And they're always a great event, great music, great band. It's usually a beautiful night like tonight, and we sit outside and listen to music. So everyone's welcome to show up for that. Also, just to remind everybody, because it threw everybody for a big loop, our calendar is now correct, so we can go buy everything that's in there now as your pickup and recycling and everything else. Remember, our brush pickup does start this week. As long as it's bundled or put into a garbage can, they will pick it up. You cannot throw full branches out there and just expect them to pick it up. It has to be cut so they can handle it. So the brush pickup starts this week, and the recycling is back to our normal schedule.
When you say cut, Mayor, I think it's 4 feet.
4 feet, yes. Professional reports.
I have no report.
Okay, Administrator.
Council, from our report last week, some things were discussed already, so it's kind of, so I'm going to take length report and made it quite shorter. First I want to talk about is, I get tons of calls all the time, people saying, why is my road being paved, why would we do this on the roads? So I asked for our engineering to start to look at doing a rating study. Since we don't have a full-time engineering staff here, but most towns do that. And then the draft is in my report, and it takes the roads from 100% to just newly paved, works the way down. But one good thing is most of our roads are probably at the 85% level, some are a little less than that. So at least that gives me a basis for going forward. When I'm not getting a state grant, I can try to use some money to do, smaller roads with a co-op, like we did on Barber Drive. That's an $80,000 project, that type of thing. That gives me the idea to do that. And one thing we did talk about, though, was a lot of these roads, if we just did crack sealing, which you see on the highways, would save the life of the roads. So we might look at doing a crack sealing project through the co-op this year to try to, based on this evaluation. So I just want everybody to see that it's a draft, it's almost finished, but it's going to use good tools going forward to evaluate what roads really should be addressed, what roads can be kind of put off for a little while and things, because again, I got a lot of calls, people saying.
So did they do all the roads then? They hit all the roads?
Yeah.
Were there any roads that they said, hey, look, it's not on your list this year, but it should be done? In other words,
It's a rating, so it depends on.
were there any low-rating roads that we're not doing now?
Well, we don't do any roads, that's the point, it's going to give us an opportunity to use that rating to start a road program.
Well, we do surface cover, we do some roads.
Only for state grant most of the time.
Yeah, state grant.
I haven't done a real road just to pave it without state grant since I've been here,
Oh, okay.
because we don't have the funding, we don't have the capital.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that if I get a program, I can maybe start a budget for funding for a capital project.
Okay.
That's the concept. We received a letter from State County Affordable Housing Corporation relative to the redevelopment of Hopkins Garage site. The State County has asked for people who have used bicycle to sewing machines. They're going to be collecting them at Woodland Park, at Brophy Park in West Patterson, Woodland Park. That's for third world countries. There's a big need for bicycles and sewing machines in a lot of third and developing world countries. So we're having a collection this Saturday. We talked about the capital budget. The NJDEP provided all towns with a statewide recreation plan. Again, it's up to communities who want to review it. We sent back comments, but that's been out for everybody's review. We did receive, we applied for a while ago, about a year ago almost. It's called a NIBRS grant. It's a grant from state police and the FBI. And if you recall, maybe I mentioned it back in the flow, Ryan Shashan had gone down to DC to get some training. And this is a very unique grant that only a few towns get relative to reporting, FBI reporting and so forth. So we're getting a upgrade of our systems through this grant, $31,000 grant. And it is highly competitive in small town Pompton Lakes. It's very well to get that grant.
Good.
And there was a monthly report from Millennium Strategies.
Any questions for Administrator? No.
Not quite a question, but just a follow-up that nobody seemed to address in their reports. I think in addition to the painting and the pots on the library lawn, don't forget we have the historic walk on Saturday. Is that at 1?
Yes, 1 o'clock. I was going to bring it up at
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure it got out there. Okay, do you have all the details?
yeah, 1 o'clock, they're meeting at the Memorial Garden on the other side of the library. The rain date of the 19th.
Wait, we're meeting where?
For historic walk?
Yeah.
Is on the 12th at 1 o'clock?
This Sunday, Saturday.
Saturday, yes, Saturday, 1 o'clock at the Memorial Garden.
Memorial Garden?
That's what he said.
In front of the library?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry,
Okay.
that's how it was put in the flyer.
Just for the public's knowledge, on June 9th, there will be a softball benefit tournament for Pete Camper, the officer that passed away here in town. They're putting teams together, and they'll be playing, police are involved, the fire, I'll be playing on the team first aid. It's a benefit for Pete Camper for a scholarship fund they're trying to put together. They'll be selling T-shirts. It will be at Hirschfield Park. It's a one-day event. So if you'd like to come and support that, please show up. It'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully somebody will be able to play some softball there.
Are we still thinking about getting a team together?
We got it, Chief. We're in.
Okay, we're in, right? Okay, good.
Okay.
Your mayor and council be playing, so.
That's true. Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments.
So moved.
Councilman Day, Branco. Councilman Giaconetti, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address?
Elaine Zablocki, 6 Butler Street. Councilman Day, when you report out the emergencies in CPR and motor vehicle, would overdoses be included in the medical emergencies?
No. We have, the police department generally is first on scene, so they are the ones who usually administer the Narcan.
But in terms of reporting at this meeting, would you, I don't think I've ever, but maybe you have, I've ever heard you say there were 2 overdoses, 5 medical emergencies, 6 motor vehicle accidents. Have you ever reported the overdoses?
I don't believe they recorded them at the first aid squad. The PD will,
Mm-hmm.
so.
I just wonder about the wisdom, perhaps, in, this multifaceted attempt to deal with the huge problem of addiction, certainly not by name, but the amount of
If you'd like that
calls.
information, I'll see if the police department has it on their report.
And then could that be part of the monthly report or bi-monthly
And it
report?
could very well show that.
I think it might be important. Thank you.
And I kind of agree with you, actually. I mean, let's hear what's going on in
Yeah.
town. Yeah.
Thank
So we
you.
I'll
if we
tell
get
you
that.
where we do see it, before every council meeting, several of us sign all the invoices. On this week's invoices was the amount that the police department paid for the Narcan that they just ordered in their last
Mhm.
batch. I don't remember the number
Mhm.
offhand, but you see it. You
Right.
see it in the invoice
But
side,
that doesn't tell you
what was used.
month to month.
Right, that's one,
That's
That's
just
a
one
different-
that's one data of, yeah,
Yes,
right,
that's not what you really want.
right.
But I will tell you that at the Alliance meeting, they did bring up people who did the numbers said that we are lucky as of to date, our opioid problem here in Pompton Lakes is low compared to other surrounding towns. They identified in our town drinking as the number one issue right now in our town with youth. Doesn't mean it can't change, but there are surrounding towns that the opioids is number one and drinking is below that, so that's...
And drinking is a legal drug, but it certainly is an issue for kids.
It's legal for us, but not for kids.
Right.
I can tell you from my experience that it's lower so far this year for the first roughly 5 months.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public, please step up.
Walter Woodrow from Iron Forge Village, town of Mid-Rise again. I just want to say that in the last year or two, this room has gone through some good modifications, right?
We're trying.
It looks good. It really
Thank
does.
you. We were hoping to have the monitors up.
Very nice.
I'll work on that next.
Usually we have them up behind us.
The two projects on Montague Avenue, the one that's was going to go from the hardware store north, and the one that other side of the street that was going to go up to the Rhino Theater, they didn't pan out, right?
No, they're still working on them. There's still discussion, good discussion. I mean, you'll be hearing some news about one of them probably in the next month or two. If you attend the redevelopment meeting next Thursday, you'll probably hear about one of them.
The same people that you've been working with
Yes.
for a long
Yeah.
time? On
It's a slow
Thursday?
process.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You
I
know, they have
agree
to-
with your analysis of the library, because people that move in, is the schools and the library. That's a big draw.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anyone else from the public would like to address us?
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. I just want to mention the egg addling for the
Yes.
Canadian geese. That all the numbers are not in yet, but we're approaching 100 eggs addled. The rise in the rivers kind of knocked us back a little bit, but once the rivers had gone down, we're going to be going out there for final inspections. And we're hoping that we did a pretty good job this year.
And I want to thank Kevin McGrath for stepping up and taking over after the McNamara decided that they stepped down. So Kevin did step up and helped us with this, so I thank him for that.
And I also want to thank Kevin McGrath, he's my partner along with Mr. Mayor when he can get out. And Kevin McGrath has done a fine job.
Yes.
And he's right there on the computer trying to give us an update all the time on how many eggs have been addled. So just want to thank him again. As you know me through the years, I am a persistent one. I received a letter at my home from a resident, and I would just, a short letter, I'd just like to read it to you. He says, "Dear Mr. Hinton, I'm not sure if you get the record, but you'd be interested in the enclosed article." The article title was, "Animal Advocate Wants Deer Surveys." This is what Pompton Lakes needs to do with the great amount of deer we have. Possibly the mayor and council would have you look into this by consulting with a vet or the town of Saddle River, which is talking about artificially inseminating, not artificially inseminating, but neutering the doe population. As you know, about a year ago, the PL police officer was killed in a collision with a deer on his motorcycle. It is time to finally address and take action with the overpopulation of deer in Pompton Lakes. Thank you for all your effort and time in trying to make Pompton Lakes a better place to live and work. Keep up the good work. Now I've been speaking about this for quite a few years, and now a resident sends me a letter about this. There's been plenty of discussions. We had a discussion at the environmental committee meeting, last meeting. The discussion didn't go too well. It ended very short. It was brief. But I just want to point out, the CDC also said that ticks have tripled in the last few years, and just, it was on the news the other day, just as a precaution to the residents with their children at the ballparks and at the soccer fields, They recommended light clothing for the kids so you can spot the ticks easily. Tuck the pants into the socks for small kids. Spray the safe amount of DEET on the kids when they're playing and when they come home. Check their clothes. Inspect your child every evening for ticks. Also, the sports bags that they take to soccer practice or to baseball, and they throw them on the ground. Don't bring them in and throw them on your bed. Kind of keep them outside because ticks will crawl onto them also. So, and the laundry room. When the mothers are washing the kids' clothes from baseball or from soccer, realize that where the kids were and that ticks are on the clothing. A lot of mothers have gotten Lyme disease just doing the laundry. They're not out in the field themselves. They are just doing the laundry from the kids bringing them in, and the ticks are on the uniform. So there's a lot of precautions. I mean, whether or not what we do about the deer population, it's something that it's like shoveling sand against the tide. It's getting bigger and bigger. Residents are starting to know. I talked to a resident the other day when I was out checking trees on the corner of Whitney and Center Street, and he says he sees deer walking right up Center Street during the day. So that population is really growing. I know your opinion, Mr. Mayor, and the council, we've discussed this for a lot of years, but it's something that the residents, especially with young kids playing in sports, really have to be cautious about. Tick population, especially in the south end of town, the trails, something to really guard against. That's all I want to say.
Those are all good points about ticks. Those are all good things to think about. I mean, they can spread any way you can. Maybe our new governor will have a better plan on how he's going to handle the deer here in New Jersey. It's, like I've said from day one, it's a Jersey problem. It's not a Pompton Lakes problem.
It's a Jersey problem, yes, it
And
is.
so it has to start at the state and work its way down.
But that's incorrect, man. I'd have to argue with you.
I don't see any other towns doing it.
You, just be the leader that you are, step forward and do the job.
I don't believe in doing it that way will work. That's why I do
Well,
it.
you have to work with the other mayors in the other towns.
I've spoken to them and they feel the same way.
You have to all work together.
I think the state has to come down with their own plan that
The
helps.
state does. New Jersey Fish and Wildlife, they have their rules and regulations.
Have they addressed how they're going to do with the overpopulation of deer?
How they're going to control the population? Yes, it's through Fish and Wildlife.
Now,
rules and
what do they do?
regulations, Through hunting.
That's their solution, hunting.
It works.
Except where you can't hunt, where you said they're walking down the street. You can't hunt.
No, of course
the
you
street.
cannot.
So how are they addressing that problem?
Well, you can hunt in the woodlands
Yeah,
before they get to the street.
I think they're everywhere, but I agree with you. We'll address it.
We'll keep talking.
We'll keep talking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address?
That's why he's the mayor.
There's only one left. Would you like to address? No, okay.
Stay out here.
Motion to close the public session.
So moved.
Councilman Jaconet. Council President Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor. Anybody? Yes, no. Seeing no one, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Councilman Jaconet. Second. Councilman Brennan. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
That's great.